Okay, so I just kind of want to start this video with admitting a point of cringe for me, kind of admitting the cringe, admitting that is cringe for me and that it's difficult to do. Makes it a little bit easier in the end. So this video is just going to be sharing the fact that I would like to kind of document online, especially on YouTube, right now having absolutely zero editing skills, absolutely zero like skills as a whole when it comes to YouTube. But I would like to kind of be able, if I manage to handle this fucking level of cringe, to record myself and share like a journey of healing both certain attachment style patterns that I have that are absolutely horrible for my life and improving because you're not always able to completely heal, but improving my CPTSD. So let's get to the first point. Now, I have a fearful avoidant attachment style, which is known as like the hot and cold attachment style, which is basically characterized by having a childhood of chaos. It is the typical child who is, for example, the child of an alcoholic, that, or not just an alcoholic, it can be, alcoholic is kind of like the extreme example, but it can also be the child of another fearful avoidant, or just growing up in conditions that are unpredictable, that are inconsistent, and that will kind of like make the child go into hypervigilance states. So the example, yeah, like it's a parent that one day is very warm, is very loving, is very kind, and then the next day is kind of, emotionally absent, dangerous, even violent, right? And it is characterized by this inconsistency, by an inability to trust, by chaos, by a lack of framework, routine, etc., trust, etc. And that's my attachment style. I've been studying it for a while, but I feel completely stuck in healing it. And I thought, hey, if I have some sort of collective pressure to do this shit, I might do it. Who the fuck knows? I mean, collective pressure being like 14 subscribers that I have right now. None of which are probably gonna watch this video, right? But we'll continue, right? So that's like the first thing. This attachment style deeply affects my life. It affects a lot my relationships with people as a whole. I constantly feel hypervigilant. I constantly feel triggered. I have a lot of triggers. Like a lot is a lot. Like I feel easily abandoned. I feel easily stressed. I feel blah blah blah. And I know that this can be improved because I've been able to mildly improve it thanks to, diving into the information and trying to do the healing work, especially with like Tyus Gibson integrated attachment theory, with Heidi Prieb's channel, for example, great tools to heal. Um, and with other tools like the EFT tapping freedom technique, blah, blah, I've been able to kind of improve. However, I feel extremely stuck in my, capacity to improve this, and I thought, okay, let's do it online. And another thing is my CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which again is kind of linked also to having a fearful avoidant attachment style. They kind of like linked. A lot of people who have a fearful avoidant attachment style has this thing as well. They also tend to have that. And well, complex PTSD is basically having post-traumatic stress disorder, but not coming from one single or a very, let's say, specific, not necessarily a single or specific event, but a rather like identifiable concrete event. For example, going to war, having a car accident, or living something like a, a natural disaster. Those things can create highly, like a condition of stress, post-traumatic stress, but that it is somehow identifiable to those particular, episodes in a person's life, and therefore, like, therapy becomes a lot more easy because it's a lot more concrete and you like actionable in a certain way, though it's not easy at all. Like, I'm not saying PTSD is easy. I'm sorry, like, not at all. Like, what the fuck? But it's kind of more concrete and is more linked to specific events. Now, CPTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder that is longer, that it lasts longer in time. It's not actually, it's like lower level trauma, but very consistent during time and a lot more difficult to identify as a concrete, specific situation, but it's kind of more pervasive and it's kind of more expanded and it's kind of more, subtle and repetitive and daily. And so it really impacts the body and the mind in a horrible, significant way. But the difference is that it's not as easily treated or not easily treated because I really don't like that term because it's kind of like simplifying PTSD, which what the fuck is of course not. But it's called complex because, again, it doesn't have like a one situation element that is a little bit more identifiable to work with. You have to work with sometimes a person's entire childhood in order to kind of, transform the patterns, the negative thoughts, the negative feelings that the person's having in their life. I have been feeling terribly stuck, so I don't know how to name this. I definitely don't want to say attachment healing diaries or something like that. That's when the cringe kind of comes up because I'm like, bitch, no. Like I don't know. These things like diaries. There's something about it that cringes me out a bit. I can't deny. So as much as it might be true, it might be diaries. I don't know. I don't feel it. I don't actually feel it like that. I don't know. I don't know. We'll find a name for it. I hope I'll find a name for it. And so this is kind of like the first episode where I kind of declare this intention publicly, and I'm going to try to follow up weekly with little things about my life, like vlogs, but also like ways in which I'm trying to improve and heal and work through these patterns in order to live a normal life. Because, bitch, my life, I'm not going to be dramatic in the sense that I'm not dealing with very high and complex situations, such as, for example, being an alcoholic, having an active addiction to a substance, heroin, alcohol, etc. Like, those are situations that I find extreme and that I find that my personal suffering is not necessarily in that category of that, but it is very high in the sense that I live a very emotionally dysregulated life every day. I constantly have a very violent inner dialogue, and I'm not happy. I've created an identity that is very linked to that suffering, and I'm just overall not fucking happy. And, just living a life that is mostly based on sadness and attachment to the past and things that I kind of want to forgive, heal, and let go of. So, in the whole scheme of suffering, I guess I wouldn't know where to put it. It's not in the highest categories, it's not in the lowest categories. I guess it's pretty specific. I guess it's pretty singular. I guess it's pretty linked to my life. And this is just the mere intention that I'm putting out. We'll see what kind of follows after this. We'll let it be. And I guess that's all. Goodbye.